Hey guys, how's it going? Michael Troy here. Today we're looking at Blue Devil #1 from DC Comics in 1984. It's a super cool comic book. I really love this comic book back in the day. Can't wait to show it to you. So make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit that like button. I'm going to cue the intro and I'll be right back.
MichaelFitzTroytv. Comic book art critiques. Stories told in sarcastic ways. Representing geeky gaze. 80s comics rule the day. Hurry up and turn that page. MichaelFitzTroy.
Alright, here we go. Okay, so this is like totally fun. I completely forgot about Blue Devil. I love Blue Devil. I'm so in and out with modern comics. I have no idea what Blue Devil's standing is. I'm gonna guess that he was probably brought back and killed like during one of the reboots or one of the crossovers or one of the crises or whatever. But but this is a cool comic book. Blue Devil #1, collector's item issue, DC Comics, June 1984, 75 cents. That reminds me when DC was the first one to pull the trigger and raise prices on comics. Comics were 60 cents for a long time. Comics were 60 cents when I started collecting them. I mean, in vitro, of course, because, you know, that would make me horribly old otherwise. But, so the reason DC went up to 75 cents and unapologetically, and in retrospect, it's a very good reason because they switched to this Mando paper, which is supposed to be a little whiter, thicker stock, and lends itself to better printing. You know, it holds the color better, and the ink or the printing, you know, the line work shows up better. So, you know, so kudos to them. I mean, comics have gone through upgrades and changes throughout the years. You know, now they're all printed on that really slick, glossy paper. And to be honest with you, I almost would rather them print on like a more affordable newsprint and just make them cheaper so more people would buy them. And I could buy more of them. But hey, that's neither here nor there. But I kind of do like the way the slick pages look. So anyway, check out this gorgeous cover from Paris Cullins. I love Paris Cullins. Great artist. Like, I would say the 80s were probably his heyday. He did Blue Beetle as well, which I will be covering because obviously alphabetically I found that one too. Anyway, this is such a fun comic book. I love this concept. Okay, that just kind of gives me chills to open the page and see the Superpowers collection because I love these action figures. I wish I had all these. What did I have? I had Robin, Aquaman, Green Lantern, maybe Flash. I don't think I had Wonder Woman, and that is shocking. I wish I had this Lex Luthor, though. I love that Lex Luthor costume. I believe it was designed by George Perez. George Perez has designed a lot of great costumes throughout the years, and I think that is one of them. One of the hallmarks of his costume designs is he likes metallic accents and things like that. I mean, basically, it's not an accent. It's the whole costume, but you know what I'm talking about. I don't even think I collected the Superpowers series though, because I'm so embarrassed to say like it was a Jack Kirby like focused effort. I know he did like the covers and maybe some of the, I don't know, he might have drawn some of it, but at the time I'm one of those guys who was not a Kirby fan, and I've had to grow into appreciating his genius, and it's a common phenomenon, so don't be mad at me. You may be one yourself. There should be a name for people like that. Idiots? I don't know. Anyway, so Blue Devil is like such a great character, such an original idea. He's like a Hollywood stuntman who dresses in this Blue Devil costume until the Blue Devil costume fuses with him and turns him into, I mean, what else are you going to do? You've got this Blue Devil costume fused to your body, so you have to become a superhero. I mean, what choice do you have? Speaking of Kirby, I'm definitely seeing some like fun Kirby elements in here. Like this face is giving me kind of Kirby vibes. So it says How to Trap a Devil, and this of course is when comic books all had titles on their splash pages. Part of what made them so amazing. This is why I love comics in the past. I know it's like everybody wants them to be like movies now, but guess what? We have movies. So let's keep comics comics. Let's keep things like, you know, thought balloons and captions and titles and, I don't know, crazy wonky designs. Created by Gary Cohn and Dan Mishkin, writers, Paris Cullins, penciler, Pablo Marcos, inker, Todd Klein, letterer, Tom Ziuko, colorist, and Alan Gold, editor. I always found it interesting that DC never had like an editor-in-chief, and if they did, they never included it in the credits. I always kind of liked that, you know, when like reading a Marvel comic and seeing Jim Shooter, editor-in-chief, it just sort of made it seem like there was like a coach kind of guiding the ship throughout all the books and stuff like that. Anyway, so this is so much fun. This character is great. I love his costume design, although with a lot of costume designs, I mean, it looks a little cheesy and dated with the big collar and all that stuff. But once again, I'm getting like Kirby vibes in the design, so I'm going to go ahead and say that Paris Cullins is a Kirby fan, or perhaps the writers were, but this is too much fun. I love this comic book. I just thought it was a great concept, totally original. A stuntman being sort of possessed by this, you know, Blue Devil costume, and then sort of like becoming a super, you know, the unlikely superhero trope, I guess. It's like you kind of fall into it, but then it tests your mettle, and you, like, if you're meant to be a hero, you will become one. If you weren't, then you won't. I mean, I guess you could say that about anything in life, but, you know, I gotta fill this video with some sort of content here, right? This is so cool. I love that. What a great page. Oh my God, that's so cool. And this is when color holds were done. It's so funny because just to see the evolution of comics and comic art, I mean, it was quite the process to do, you know, a comic book. You would have, like, the artist would have an art board and pencil on it, and then it would be inked, and then it would, well, usually lettered first, depending. Sometimes they would do the lettering, like, on an overlay, but it just depends on the situation. And then they would do photostats and color those. But if you had like an effect like this, it would have to be like on two separate sheets of paper to do like that color hold. Not sure exactly how the printing process goes, but I've always been kind of interested in that and fascinated with that. I mean, as a comic book artist, you know, that's part of the reason, you know, a lot of these old time like 60s, 70s, 80s comic book artists, you know, just were very frustrated because the printing just like would lose a lot of detail in the art. And you know, I mean, it's funny because like even to the point where there was no point in being somebody like a George Perez, or I guess like a Jeff Darrow, or somebody like, I can't even imagine what his art would have looked like in this kind of printing situation. You know, it probably would have looked a little muddy and a little, you know, you would be losing a lot of the detail. But we are onto the Mando printing, and I have to say, you know, this is 1984, bought off the rack. It's obviously been in a long box for several years, but, you know, how much whiter is the paper than the other newsprint? I guess I would have to do a comparison. How funny. Did anybody have the Warlord action figures? I mean, that's kind of crazy that they even had them. I should look on eBay and just to see what they look like, because, I mean, this is like the Village People right here, so that's pretty amazing. Who wouldn't want the Sword and Sorcery Village People frickin' action figures? I know I do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 panels on one page. You can tell this is definitely pre-image era, where you're lucky to get 2 panels on a page anymore. I don't know. But this is like the best time. I mean, there were so many different types of, you know, comic book artists, and so many different styles, and just so many people breaking ground, and just, you know, so many great artists. Such a great time in comics. I love Blue Devil. Like, where is he now? Has he been, you know, ruined by continuity? What did they do with him? I guess I could have looked that up before I did the video. However, you know, you gotta walk your dog and stuff like that too. But I can only imagine how they've ruined him now, if he's even still around. But I love Blue Devil. He was so great. I totally love this series, and I wish that they would bring him back in a good way or make a movie or something, because he's so cool, and I think that people would be down for that kind of thing. Because it's a gimmick. I mean, you know, it's a good gimmick, but at the end of the day, it's still a gimmick. And I feel like we don't have as many gimmick comics like this. As much as I love the X-Men, I feel like they sort of tip the apple cart and upset everything by just being mutants. Like, you're just born with your power. Like, you don't have to have an accident. You don't have to be part of an experiment. You know, you don't have to be creative with your origin, is basically what I'm saying. Which is fine, because the mutants are the mutants, and that's great. But then when other people started, like, just throwing mutants in, like Jericho in the Teen Titans is supposedly a mutant. And I thought that was a little lame and, like, sort of like a cop-out, because, I mean, arguably, yes, you know, mutants are born with their powers, and it could have been passed on from Slade. But is that really the mutant gene thing that's going on in the Marvel Universe? Or is it just Slade's, you know, tainted blood passing it on to his kid in a weird way? So, I don't know how... They didn't really go super far with the whole mutant thing. That would have been hysterical if they would have, like, had anti-mutant protesters outside of the Teen Titans Tower because they let Jericho join. Now that would have been interesting. Anyway, love Blue Devil. Super cool. If you guys are unfamiliar with it, you need to check it out. It's a great, if you love, like, 80s comic books, great art from Paris Cullins. I love this series. Great character, great design. He could easily be a member of the Village People too. Just saying. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, hit like, share my content, and I'll bring you some more later. Alright, thanks guys.